Hello and welcome to episode 22 of the franchise. I'm your host, Daniel Ehrenberg.
And I'm your co-host, Henry Papali. Welcome, folks.
And today, we're talking about film. I almost said films. I guess they're both films.
Of course they are.
Yeah.
Uh-oh. Yeah.
But yeah, Chinatown and its belated sequel, The Two Jakes.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll be starting with Chinatown, which, I mean, you know, let's get it out of the way here. It's one of the best movies ever made.
Yep.
And holds up entirely. I haven't seen it in probably 4 or 5 years.
Oh, I thought it had been a little longer. Okay. All right.
No, I watched it when we were living together. So whenever that was.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I haven't watched it longer than that, actually, but I had seen it so many times when I was, I guess, in college. So I was really familiar with it. But yeah.
I saw it when I was like 19, and then a second time 5 years ago, and this was my third time.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's start there. Chinatown.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this is the second film we're talking about that is in the National Film Registry.
Oh.
Considered important by the U.S. government.
And Scream 3 was the other one, right?
No, it was The Matrix.
That's incredible because I didn't remember that. I thought it was like Back to the Future or Die Hard or something.
The Matrix.
The Matrix. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Fair enough. Not really. Okay.
Directed by noted pervert Roman Polanski. What do you do? Fuck a 13-year-old or something?
Yeah, his wife had recently been murdered by the Manson clan. Remember that whole thing?
Listen, I'm not giving him an out because of that.
Whoa, that's not what I was doing.
Oh, okay.
I'm trying to get like a historical context because I'm not, I don't remember either. But yeah, his wife had just been killed. He was in that whole Hollywood clique of scumbags.
Well, yeah, he's pals with Robert Evans, who produced these movies.
Oh boy, yeah, and he had a girl at a party and got her wasted, essentially, I think, and
a girl, not a woman,
not a woman,
yeah,
girl, and God, it's this whole thing where like. He had people defending him, and then no one really stuck up for the girl, and then he left, and the only way to get out of it was like fleeing the country.
Yeah, right. He doesn't come to America. Like he's been nominated for a few Oscars and
hasn't been able to receive them.
Right.
Like The Pianist, he couldn't get that one. And
did he win for The Pianist?
He won Best Director.
He did?
Yeah.
I like that movie.
It's a great
but
movie.
That's too much.
The Best Director?
Yeah, I'd have to look at the year, I guess, but I'm pretty sure I wouldn't agree with that.
Well, he didn't win Picture. It was it was a director.
What won Picture that year?
I don't remember. 2002.
Try to think of it. What do you got?
I'm thinking. Oh, you know?
No, I have no fucking idea.
I don't know the hours. Who the fuck knows what won? I know Gangs of New York was up and that lost.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'll have to look that up.
All right. Whatevs. Polanski. What are your favorite Polanskis and least favorite? Because Roman Polanski is a great filmmaker who, when he fails terribly.
That's an interesting point. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, I got it up right here. Yeah. Okay, my favorite Polanski movies are the ones that became with American titles because I can't read the Polish titles. Repulsion.
Sure.
Rosemary's Baby. Macbeth.
Yeah, that's a good Macbeth.
Which is the best Macbeth until the one I saw last year with Michael Fassbender, which was phenomenal.
Yeah, Macbeth, I didn't see the Fassbender, but whereas there's been like a few, Macbeth is a contender for my favorite Shakespeare play.
Oh, yeah, me too. That and Hamlet.
I prefer it to Hamlet.
Do you?
And,
Yeah.
and Hamlet has had a ton of good movies. Based
Yeah,
on it.
it's true. Yeah.
From fucking, Mel Gibson to Kenneth Branagh to.
Yeah, I even like the Ethan Hawke update.
I was gonna say that. Yeah, Michael Almereyda's thing, but Macbeth, there really is just this one to me. You say I haven't seen the Fassbender.
The Fassbender's absolutely phenomenal. Yeah. Chinatown, and then I'm skipping a few things because I wasn't a fan.
Then you're skipping 20 years to The Pianist, or maybe Frantic.
No, Frantic's okay. I really liked Death and the Maiden with
I've never
Sigourney
seen
Weaver
that.
and Ben Kingsley.
Okay.
And then he made The Ninth Gate. Oof.
That's a piece of shit.
Yep. And then The Pianist, and then one of my favorites of all time, which
Oliver Twist?
No. No, I didn't know.
No, you love The Ghost Rider.
The Ghost Rider.
Yeah.
And then he did Carnage.
Which I did not care for.
Yeah, it was weak. It was trying really hard to be a film when it was a play.
Very stagey.
Yes, but The Ghost Rider was, that's 6 years ago, and he was still at the top of his game, so, But yeah, I guess overall it's really only about 5 films that I think are great. 4 or 5 films. Still.
You skipped a couple that I like. Knife in the Water.
I never saw that. I always wanted to see that.
That's great. And The Fearless Vampire Killers.
Didn't see it.
That's really good.
You're going way back. Yeah,
I'm going way back because all his 90s movies suck.
Yeah.
And like Oliver Twist was tiresome.
I didn't even hear about that.
Yeah, man. I remember when that came out. That was his follow-up to The Pianist.
Oh, right.
And shout out to one of the worst movies I've ever seen, Pirates.
Yeah, is that the one with that? Oh wait, no, that's another Pirates with Kevin Bacon.
What are you thinking of?
Kevin Bacon, where they're.
What pirate movie is that?
That's one with PYR. They're like pyromaniacs and shit.
Oh, for fuck's sake!
Yeah, it's awful. Some piece of shit '80s movie. I see it. I'm looking. Walter Matthau, Pirates.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Whoops.
It's really big budget. Like, it's super like bombastic, that movie. And it's weird. It doesn't feel like Roman Polanski like at all.
Yeah.
It's like Roman Polanski trying. Maybe it's like he'd been like blacklisted for a few years, and he was taking a paycheck on that one.
Well, you can't do what he did, and I mean, there's no gray area for what he did. Not to harp on it, but like as you were saying, there's no gray area. And even though the girl, I saw like a documentary recently where she like forgave him and everything.
Yeah, I saw that too.
Yeah, it's not like one of these situations where there's all these confusing, conflicting things like, not confusing to me with Woody Allen, but to a lot of Woody haters. There's a lot more going on in that story. In this one, it's pretty cut and dry. He did something horrific, and that's that, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's like R. Kelly.
Yeah, pretty much.
You just know. Like, it's on tape. Like, we know for a fact R. Kelly, like, pissed on an underage girl. That happened.
Right.
It's just, sorry. It's a bummer, but it happened.
Yeah, and honestly, if he thought he did nothing wrong, he wouldn't have fucking left the country.
Yeah. Listen, Roman Polanski takes the place of Bryan Singer as the worst piece of shit we've covered on this show.
I don't know.
Oh, come on.
That's a tie, don't you think? Bryan Singer's done it multiple times, though, hasn't he? Like, multiple times?
We don't know. Roman Polanski hasn't.
Well, that's okay. That's fine. But I mean, with Bryan Singer, like a bunch of people were coming out and saying he did this shit. Roman, it was the one.
But Bryan Singer, it was the kind of thing where it was like at parties and stuff.
So was this.
These dudes knew what they were getting into. He just raped this girl. He didn't fuck any of those dudes. He just like played with their junk.
Ugh. God.
Yeah. Listen, they're both horrible.
Yeah, I mean, it's a real...
yeah, I mean, we're ranking pieces of shit here. It's fine.
We get it. I think we agree with the world, Roman Polanski. Not a good guy.
Yeah.
But it hasn't stopped major people from wanting to work with him. So
well, he's one of
That's all
those
he
guys.
did.
It's like Woody Allen too.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
like important actors will never stop wanting to be in a Woody Allen movie.
right, no matter what they do.
Yeah. Written the Chinatown was written by Robert Towne, as was the two Jakes. So let's just get into that guy, and then we could finally get into this movie.
Mhm.
I hate Robert Towne's IMDb page. Let me just flag that up right now.
Oh, okay. Why is that?
Because he has 34 credits, and some of the best movies of all time are on here, and in parentheses next to it, it says
Uncredited.
uncredited. So, motherfucker, you didn't write it, as far as I'm concerned. I don't care that it says you wrote The Parallax View uncredited, or Bonnie and Clyde uncredited. As far as I'm concerned, you're not credited. You didn't write the movie.
You don't think that could be a thing where it's the opposite, where the guys where he did script doctoring on it?
But it's so many movies.
It sure is.
It's such bullshit.
Great movies.
Yeah, and they're all good movies. So,
Yeah.
like, leave me alone. Let's talk about his actual credits.
Okay, that's
which
fair.
include some great movies, like The Last Detail, and
Yeah,
Chinatown,
my
and
favorite.
Shampoo.
Yeah. Never
And-
saw Shampoo.
Good movie. And, and then his career fell off a cliff in, like, the 80s and 90s.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, Tequila Sunrise, Days of Thunder, The Firm. He started working for Cruise a lot. He wrote those first two Mission Impossibles.
He worked with him 4 times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Well, that's a really good point you brought up about him, and not something I had really thought about, because that whole uncredited thing, I just never know what to think about it.
I
you know?
ignore it completely.
Yeah, because it even in the awards section gives him a nomination for Best Adapted Screenplay for Last Detail, but yet...
No, he wrote The Last Detail.
Oh, he did
that
write
one's
that.
legit.
So that even proves your point further. So if he's getting his name's included in a nomination, then he probably did it. So,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, dude. Listen,
Yeah.
listen, Robert Towne, I don't care how much you want to doctor this IMDb page. You wrote Personal Best. You did not write Bonnie and Clyde.
Personal Best, by the way, was that movie that I mentioned like 4 months ago when I couldn't think of the title. What was the movie we did with Mariel Hemingway? Oh, Superman 4.
The Quest for Peace.
Yeah, and you said, has she done anything, and I said, yeah, she was in that movie about that runner.
Oh,
and
that's Personal
that's
Best.
It.
Good
That's
call.
It. Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Took me half a year, but yeah. All
So
right.
listen, I've been actually, I have nothing to say about Chinatown because this is a comedy podcast.
It's a what?
It's a comedy podcast.
No, it's a dramatic podcast.
No, it's not. And Chinatown is a great movie. And so, like, what am I going to do? I have nothing to talk shit about in this movie.
No. Well, we can talk about
It's just weird. Like, we've had 5 weeks of Friday the 13th. What the hell do I say about Chinatown?
I know. It's quite a leap we've taken.
Yeah.
Quite a leap. Well, we had tried to been deciding what to do, and then we just landed on this one because we wanted a one-off. We needed a one-off.
We wanted like an actual dramatic picture.
Yeah, we'll figure it out, man.
Listen, I got plenty to say about the two Jakes.
Yeah, I'm sure you do. But well, then is the plot worth going over?
Let me do the stats.
Yeah, do the stats, and then maybe we'll breeze over the plot because it's
we
so.
should talk plot.
Yeah, and then I want to talk about the credits, and I want to get your feeling on the 1974 Academy Awards, which will be plenty of fodder for fun.
Well, it'll be the 1975 Academy
Right,
Awards.
sorry.
Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
Of course. I always do that.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
The movie was released June 20th, 1974. A budget of $6 million. Box office 29.2, which was a big hit at the time.
Sure, especially for a movie like this.
I couldn't find like a ranking for 1974, and they only had the top 10, and this movie is not in the top 10. But I did see that it was number 1 at the box office for like 10 weeks or something, so
Yeah.
it was a hit. Yeah. So The American Film Institute. I like talking about their shitty lists.
We love those lists.
Yeah. It's on a ton of those things.
Yeah, you're right. It is.
Okay.
Hit me.
It's the number 2 mystery movie of all time.
Is it?
Yeah. It's the number 21 movie of all time.
All right.
Yep. Number 9 in score.
Well, okay.
Number 74 best quotes.
Yeah,
For the
that makes sense.
For the closing line. What is it?
Of course.
Say it.
Forget it, Jake. It's Chinatown.
Boom. Very high up. Number 16 for villain. That's a little too high up.
Well, he's a hell of a villain.
Oh, yeah, he's a piece of shit. But also, by the way, John Huston playing the villain. Nice touch.
Oh, man, yeah.
Yeah, because the movie, tonally, is trying to ape exactly the old noir movies, the better noir movies of the mostly 40s, I'd say.
Yeah, the Philip Marlowe stuff and all those books and all that shit.
Yeah, I mean, so getting the guy who directed The Maltese Falcon to play the villain is pretty brilliant.
Yeah.
And
the casting is perfect.
Yeah, and it copies those movies down to, like, the color. Like, it's a color picture, and those movies are all black and white. But it's very monotone, you know? It's all like sepia toned shades of brown and stuff.
It's a gorgeous, gorgeous looking movie.
Beautiful movie. And also number 16 thriller of all time. So the AFI could not decide whether this was a mystery or a thriller. Popped in on both lists.
I want to work for the AFI. That'd be so much fun.
It's all children of stars, right? Who works for the AFI?
Right?
It's got to be like Rumor Willis or something.
Rumor Willis. Yeah. Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Movie was nominated for 11 Academy Awards. All right? Only won one.
For your boy. Yeah.
My boy Robert Towne won for screenplay.
Bobby Towne. Yeah.
Bobby Towne. Yeah. But it was nominated for picture, director, actor Nicholson, actress fading away, editing, art direction, costumes, cinematog, sound mixing, score. Boom. Lost score. I didn't write that down. Who did it lose score to? Because it's the number 9 score of all time, according to
it's our. By the way, it's our friend Jerry Goldsmith again.
Sure, Basic Instinct's Jerry Goldsmith.
Yeah, and we had him one other movie too. Fucking Supergirl.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, one of his ones he'd like to forget.
Sure.
But what a score to this movie too. Just perfect. And there were a couple scenes, jumping ahead, why not? A couple of scenes in the middle and towards the end where he really employs that brass really well, and I kept thinking of L.A. Confidential, which clearly had this movie in mind.
That's heavily influenced by Chinatown.
Oh, man. Yeah.
R.I.P. Curtis Hanson.
I know. Yeah. It was too bad.
All right. Yeah, it's a lot of dignified trumpet, right? And
yeah.
But here's what I like. I feel like the score is remembered for the trumpet mostly.
Oh, really?
I think like the themes he wrote for the brass.
Yeah, I guess, sure.
I like the sort of action scenes where it starts to double down on like real low piano chords.
Oh yeah.
And, like heavy fucking like intense percussion.
Oh, absolutely. I agree.
Yeah, it's ballin'.
Especially the piano stuff. That was fantastic.
I like the drums, man. It gets tribal at times.
Yeah, it is. It is just so inventive and evocative, and it's fantastic.
It's great, and it's one of the few things about this movie that raise it, to me, in my mind, above even classics like The Maltese Falcon and The Big Sleep.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Yeah. Yeah. I got the score winner right here.
Who is it?
Well, first of all, I'd like to say the cinematography, who that went to. You ready for this?
I am.
I don't think you are. It went to the Towering Inferno.
Because it's so large scale. Like, that movie was super impressive at the time. I think that might be the highest grossing movie that year or something like that.
Yeah. The best cinematography ones in this category that year were one movie.
Godfather 2, probably.
No.
Oh, weird.
Yeah, that's not only weird, that's criminal. Because Gordon Willis is like one of the greatest of all time. But Earthquake? Never heard of it.
No, I know that. That's another disaster movie.
I figured.
Yeah.
And then Lenny, about Lenny Bruce.
Sure.
And Murder on the Orient Express. But
I like that movie.
Yeah, I do too.
Sidney
But
Lumet.
we're just talking cinematography here. You know, come on.
Yeah, no, that's true. That movie's fairly confined, actually. It's like a bottle picture.
Right. And then what were you asking me? The score. Oh, yeah. Okay. You know what? I can't argue with. Oh, boy, it's tough. It lost to The Godfather.
Nino Rota.
Yeah, I can't really. That's a hard one. Yeah.
Yeah, they're
tough.
both great.
Yeah.
Of course, Nino Rota had themes written for the first film to rely on.
Right.
This one was
That's
all
right.
original.
I was going to say, the first one, couldn't we just do it then? But the Best Actor one kind of hurt me, too.
Well, yeah, that one's crazy. Like, because Best Picture and Best Director went to Godfather 2 and Coppola. So you can't really argue too much, right?
No, it's tough to, yeah.
But, and by the way, actress, Faye Dunaway is fantastic in this movie, but it went to Ellen Burstyn for Alice Doesn't Live Here Anymore.
Right.
Can't really argue with that either.
No, you really can't. And the other big one was Jenna Rollins in Woman of Influence.
Absolutely.
So, what the hell. But, Art Carney won for Harry and Tonto, a movie unseen by me.
Oh, me too. And probably racist. I'm going to assume from a film about Native Americans in the 70s.
Yeah, right. But, the other guys in his category, what a generation.
It's Murderer's Row. It's Pacino, right?
Chino, Hoffman, Nicholson, and Albert Finney.
What's Hoffman nominated for?
Lenny.
Oh, right.
Yeah. So, whoa.
Art Carney, is he the fella from The Honeymooners?
I have no idea.
What do you mean you have no idea? I'm pretty sure that's right.
Yeah, he is. He's Gleason's buddy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, good call.
Yeah.
I don't know, because I don't know anything about Art fucking Carney.
He's great on that show, but because of that show, I've always thought of him as like an old timey TV actor,
right?
And but no, he's off winning Best Actor Oscars in 1975.
By the way, it should be mentioned in the Best Picture category that year, Coppola was in there twice.
Oh, Conversation? Yeah, he made those movies in the same year. That's right. He made 4 good movies. 2 of them were in the same year.
4 good movies.
Yeah. What's the fifth? What is the fifth?
I'm trying. Wait, hold on. So you're saying Godfather, Godfather 2, Apocalypse Now, and 4. The Conversation.
Right.
Yeah.
What's the fifth good Coppola movie?
Good or great?
I'll even say good.
Oh, that's not fair. I liked Tetro.
That sucked. I saw fucking Tetro. That sucked. I like Vincent Gallo in it.
I liked it.
But that movie's boring.
All right.
What else you got?
I don't know. Should we talk about Chinatown?
What are you going to give me? Jack?
No, but when we had Zack Snyder on the show, he mentioned that Jack was his favorite Coppola.
Yeah, I remember that. And what else? What was that shitty movie? The
Rainmaker?
Youth Without Youth?
Never heard of it.
Horrible. The Rainmaker, right? I'll say that's good. That's not a terrible movie.
No, it's workmanlike.
Yeah, it's workmanlike.
I was never a fan of The Outsiders. I know everyone
Me
loved
neither.
them.
I'm not a big Outsiders guy either.
Yeah.
Or Rumblefish. Keep it to yourself.
Yeah. Okay, so Chinatown.
Yeah.
What do you got?
Chinatown.
What do you got for this masterpiece?
It's an important movie. And
Clearly, we have so much to say about it. We haven't talked about it at all.
Because I don't know what to say that's funny. It's an important movie, and here's why it's important. Because it's a film noir, and the character at the center of it, J.J. Gittes, played by Nicholson,
Mr. Gittes,
is vulnerable and complex and well-drawn.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something that some of those old, great film noirs are missing.
Yeah,
a lot of those movies, they're brilliantly written crime procedurals.
Yeah.
That have a guy at the center that's just super fucking cool and unimpeachable.
Like a Robert. Yeah. Oh, I was going to say Robert Mitchum, but
like Bogart.
Yeah. Mitchum more darker. Yeah.
But I mean, this is a guy, Gittes, that is, he's rolling at night, taking pictures of, spouses cheating on each other, and he's constantly just got fucking dirt on his face, getting beat up and thrown
famous,
around.
Yeah, that famous. It's my favorite kind of private eye movie where they're just basically getting their ass kicked the entire time.
Yeah, he gets
and he's an ex-cop, so
which is good, and I like his relationship with
Escobar.
Yeah, what's his first name? Leo?
Lou,
right. Lou, which is hilarious because he was just made a lieutenant, and they cleverly named him Lou.
I didn't catch that.
Yeah. He gets like chopped pretty early in the nose.
That is a very great scene
by Roman Polanski, by the way.
Yeah.
In a cameo.
I guess he cut his nose to spite his face.
Oh boy. And.
Oh yeah. By the way, this is pre all of his bullshit, right?
Polanski, I don't know.
I was wondering if it was. It has to be because he filmed it in L.A.
Yeah, good point.
Yeah.
It had to be like after like 78 when like he doesn't make another movie till Pirates in 86.
Yeah, I bet you're right. That's when it had to be. Yeah,
right.
He's a great little, hey Claude, where'd you get the midget? The dialogue in this movie just goes without saying that it's fucking genius.
Yeah, but I've got to give Polanski a lot of credit. He reworked the script uncredited, and I know I just talked about how I hate uncredited shit, but he's
I know he changed the ending. What else did he do?
The original script has narration in it.
Oh,
as the Two Jakes does.
Right.
And Polanski was like, get that shit out of my movie. Because he wanted the audience to learn the twists as Gittes did, instead of Gittes dictating it to the audience as a story.
Right.
And that's a brilliant touch. And so we're in the trenches with this Gittes fella. And he he gets that bandage on his nose.
Yeah.
And it's a huge bandage covering like half his fucking face.
I love it.
And I forgot how much of this movie he's wearing that thing.
I actually made a note of that. It's 45 minutes.
That is a large portion of this movie.
Yeah, and that's just great because I love how it just completely strips away an actor's vanity too. It's just like, here's our star, and we're not even going to be able to make out his face for like half the movie. And not only that, like kind of make him look goofy.
Yeah, I think that was influential because I feel like there's a lot of actors that would be willing to do that now, like good-looking dudes.
Yeah.
And it's because they're influenced by people like Nicholson that let that shit happen to them. Brando, too. Like, you can totally see Gosling or like DiCaprio being totally cool doing something like that.
Yeah.
But
well,
at the time, there weren't as many actors that I feel like didn't have that vanity.
Oh, you're right. I mean, honestly, I've always loved Warren Beatty, but he's so fucking vain. I could never picture him doing something like that.
Oh yeah, he's that movie coming out next month. He's gonna be the fucking handsomest Howard Hughes ever.
I didn't know about this.
Yeah, it's his first movie in like 16 years or something.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
He's been trying to get this thing made since like the 80s, I think.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, he's playing Howard Hughes. And yeah, whatever.
It's like 80.
Yeah,
Wow.
but he's like directing and starring.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, like Robert Redford would never have done that in the 70s.
Right.
Ever.
100%.
Yeah. Good point. All right.
There you go. What else you got?
One of your favorite actors of all time, his dad is in this movie.
Oh, Arquette?
No.
No, who is it?
Bruce Glover.
Bruce Glover.
It's Crispin Glover's dad.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
good point.
He's one of Jake's like assistants at the office.
Is he the one that comes back in the two Jakes or not?
No.
Okay, the
a
other.
couple of those guys do, but not him. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot more people than I was expecting came back.
Yeah,
in the sequel.
yeah, they sure did.
I wasn't expecting to see Lou hanging around.
Yeah. I had a superhero count on this movie.
Well, Jack Nicholson's the Joker,
right? And Faye Dunaway was in Supergirl.
Oh, that's right. Good point. Yeah, she's like what, Medusa or some shit.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
And I got a big superhero count in the two Jakes.
Oh, I look forward to that.
Look out.
I mean, so it is shot like an old-timey kind of film noir, like a classic one, but with a notable exception in my mind, other than the color picture. A lot of handheld camera.
Oh, I didn't even really notice that.
Yeah,
is that right? It's very subtly handheld, though.
No, yeah, but it's subtle. You know what it reminded me of?
What?
And there's a few scenes where like Nicholson's interrogating someone, and the camera's just sort of following him around. It's clearly handheld, and it looks a little bit like Law and Order.
Okay.
Not in a bad way. I think maybe like Law and Order
never really
was.
Watched that.
Yeah, like there's a lot of handheld camera, like in the street scenes on Law and Order.
Uh-huh.
And I was seeing that a little bit in Chinatown. I took a note.
I love the little touches too that are very film noir too. Like if you noticed when when he meets with the mortician's name is Morty.
It's like Lou.
Yeah, Lou the lieutenant, Morty the mortician. And John Huston, I read something interesting that of all the acting that he ever did, this was the only performance he felt he ever gave that he liked.
I agree.
Yeah, he's not a great actor. He's a presence, is what he is. He's a presence.
There's directors that can act. I never thought of John Huston as one of those, despite how good he is as the villain in this.
Yeah.
The rapist dad. But, yeah, I don't know. Like, I like when Sidney Pollack shows up in something.
Oh, yeah. Well, he's a good actor.
Or, like, Gary Marshall's pretty good.
Really?
I think so.
I can't think of anything that I've even... Yeah.
He's good in, like, Lost in America, the Albert Brooks movie.
Oh, yeah. He's great in that. As the casino owner.
That's right. R.I.P. to him, too.
Yeah.
I was having an argument today about the franchise. Do those Gary Marshall holiday movies count? They're not as a franchise. They're not connected to each other. Like, they don't share any characters.
No.
But they're along the same lines.
That's not a franchise.
Okay.
Because the philosophy of our podcast was that you're trying to squeeze another movie out of something that already existed, right?
I think Mother's Day was him trying to squeeze another holiday.
Well, you're probably right, but I wouldn't venture that far.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So, hey, talking of nice touches in this movie. I have a question for you. What came first? This is a little game.
Okay.
So there's a scene where Nicholson is like meeting Faye Dunaway for like a drink. You know what I'm talking about?
Well, that happens like 19 times in the movie.
All right, but it's in this big place, and there's a piano playing in the background. It's playing The Way You Look Tonight.
Okay.
And then in the next scene, Jack Nicholson is like trying to annoy the receptionist in that office.
Okay.
And
yeah. Oh, yes.
And he's humming The Way You Look Tonight. And it connects to the previous scene perfectly. I'm wondering, was Nicholson doing that in that scene? And then they were like, wouldn't it be a nice touch to have like the background piano in the previous scene?
Wow.
I don't know. Like, which came first?
Well, that's always hard to figure out with these movies because so few movies are shot in sequence.
Exactly.
And I don't know if,
or was it in the script? Do I give Robert Towne the credit for that?
Yeah, or Polanski for that matter.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, Nicholson is also, I think, from everything I know about the guy, is an extremely creative and smart actor. And so it would not surprise me at all if that was just his little idea that maybe they were shooting that scene like the day before or the day of, and he had it in his head and figured it would be funny to do that. Who knows?
Yeah.
I don't know. That is really perceptive, though. I knew what the song was when he was humming it, but I wasn't paying attention to it in the bar scene at all. Yeah. I didn't even catch it. Yeah.
It's there. It's there.
Wow.
Yeah. So, I mean, Chinatown. What else you got?
I got some Bad for the Grass.
Bad for grass.
Bad for grass. Yeah, it's bad for the glass. And then one of my favorite lines, "You're dumber than you think I think you are."
Yeah, yeah.
And then, of course, my fave, when Loach, the asshole detective who ends up killing Faye Dunaway at the end, and he's always ribbing Nicholson. He says, "What happened to your nose, Giddis? You sort of take the picture of the wrong guy?" And he goes, "No, Loach, your wife got excited and she crossed her legs too fast."
Yeah, and then Loach immediately tries to punch him.
Yeah.
Which is great.
Oh my God.
I enjoy the line when he's like breaking into the old folks' home. He goes, "Do you accept members of the Jewish persuasion?" And the guy goes, "No, is that going to be a problem?" And Nicholson goes, "No, I was testing you."
He goes, "No, neither. Well, neither does my uncle." So that works out perfectly. Yeah. The lines are just one after the other, and mainly by Nicholson. I mean, the one-liners he's given are just brilliant.
And I should say, we're giving Nicholson that Nicholson impression. This is before Nicholson talked like that.
Yeah, he's restrained.
Yeah.
Well, it's not before he talked like that, because he was already doing that in 5 Easy Pieces and The Easy Rider and Last Detail, which were all before this movie.
No, you're right. But this is
But he toned it down.
This is a performance. This is when Jack Nicholson could still give a performance.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
I disagree. But I think he's restrained. That's all.
What's Jack Nicholson's last good performance? He hasn't made a movie in 6 years, so he might be retired. What's his last good performance?
Let's see now, shall we? You're going to actually
Is it about Schmidt?
Well, that's certainly in the running.
Are you going to tell me The Departed?
I think he's great in The Departed.
Okay.
You don't. I mean, you don't like that movie.
I don't like anything about that movie.
Yeah, so you don't like it. I would say he's fantastic in The Departed. I'd say his last artistic performance would probably have to be about Schmidt. But right before that, he had done The Pledge by Sean Penn.
Yeah, I like that movie.
He's fantastic in that.
He's got a mustache.
Yeah. The Pledge. I was never a fan of As Good as It Gets. Yeah, after About Schmidt, he pretty much, besides The Departed, went off the rails because he did those like comedies with Adam Sandler and Nancy Meyer.
Oh, yeah, yeah. After About Schmidt, I hate his rotten guts. A nice bucket list reference for all you guys out there.
Oh, wow. Holy shit. But he's still strong in my book. I love the Jack Nicholson of the mid-'90s and early '90s as much as I love any of them.
I hate a lot of those, man. Well,
A Few Good Men, Hoffa, Wolf, Crossing Guard, Blood and Wine. All of them I love.
okay.
Not you.
Well, I love that you snuck Wolf in there.
I love Wolf.
It's a good movie, but the performance is over the top.
Oh, yeah, no, hardcore. But, yeah, no, because, but he's got little things in the 80s, too, like Heartburn and Witches of Eastwick. And
I do like Witches of Eastwick.
And everyone loves Terms of Endearment, not me, but he's the only part of it that's good.
What about The Evening Star?
Ugh. And
we're going to have to cover those.
That'll be a comedy show.
Yeah.
I was never a big, speaking of John Huston, I was never a big Prizzi's Honor fan. I know a lot of people love that movie. I never really got into it.
I've never seen it.
Yeah, I never dug it, but this guy's unstoppable in the 70s, man. I'm looking at it now.
Listen, it's like De Niro, man. Like, De Niro has a streak in the 70s. He was, like, in a row. He's in, like, 11 of the greatest movies ever made.
But De Niro
between, like, Mean Streets and, like, The King of Comedy.
But I hate saying this, but I also think, though, De Niro, towards the, starting in the 90s, just started to take he's not even comparable. He took way more paychecks, way more falls than Jack Nicholson ever did.
Well, he also just made a ton more movies.
Well, I know.
Nicholson would go years with, like, you wouldn't get a Nicholson movie for, like, 3 years.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
But that's to his credit, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a different approach to acting,
Right.
Like, you can be Daniel Day-Lewis, or you can be Sam Rockwell. And I love Sam Rockwell, and, like, every 3 years he has, like, a great movie, but he's made, like, 12 in between those two great movies.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah.
So Chinatown, really, I mean, we're this far into it. The plot's just what it is. It's about land and irrigation and two tycoons fighting over it. That's about it.
It is very preoccupied with the state of Los Angeles water in the 1930s.
Yeah, it's clearly like an FDR post-Great Depression battle for land and natural resources, and that's pretty much it. And then you involve
and
the whole.
And it sounds boring, but it is riveting on every level.
Yeah, I had that thought during the movie. I was thinking about, like, how is this possible that a movie about this subject matter is so fucking enthralling? And
where like a water main like sends like a burst of water just out for a second, and you're like, oh my god.
Yeah.
They're rerouting the water.
Yeah.
Why do I care? But you do.
Right, and it like almost drowns Nicholson. He gets pushed up against the fence.
That shot is my favorite shot in the entire movie.
Whoa. Really?
Yeah, Nicholson climbing that fence.
That's great.
I love it.
I love it too, because that's clearly no stunt double.
Oh no! Yeah, that's Nicholson.
They dumped some water on him and said, "Climb for your life."
No faking that.
Huh?
No faking that.
No.
We should talk about probably the most famous scene in the movie. Like, my sister didn't know what I was talking about when I brought up Chinatown, and then I was like, my sister, my daughter, and she was like, oh, that movie.
Mm-hmm.
So that scene's interesting because, like, through 2016 eyes, I will say it's a little jarring to see Jack Nicholson just smacking the shit out of Faye Dunaway. A woman he slept with like 2 hours earlier.
And cares deeply about.
Yeah. Sex scene, by the way. Get to see Jack Nicholson's butt. And Faye Dunaway's.
Do you?
Yeah, and Faye Dunaway's side boob.
Yeah, that, but I don't remember we had to see that.
Yeah, a little ass crack in that scene.
All right.
But And that's a gorgeous scene. I bring up the sordid elements of it, but the conversation between them's beautiful. But then, like a couple hours later, he's just smacking the shit out of her, and it's fucked up. And so, like, I took a note on it, and like I was gonna bring it up, but that's me being sensitive. And this is a classic movie, and you can't do that. And it would annoy me if I saw someone talking shit about that on the internet. And it takes place in the 30s, so different time.
Yeah, I mean, of course, it's terrible, but I guess in the context of the scene too, like he has absolutely reached the apex of his frustration. Like Gittes, he's just trying to help this woman, and she will not tell him what is going on. He's like literally just completely at his wit's end, and so that also lends to her just breaking down. I feel like in that scene, for how it's written, if he wouldn't have been like slapping her around, he might not have gotten the whole "she's my sister, she's my daughter." You know, I don't even think it would have happened.
No, you need that for the intensity of the scene, and I don't know. We're too sensitive these days. I saw an article on the internet the other day where it's like arguing that the Beach Boys, their music isn't viable because all their songs, like the problems within them, are white privilege. Okay. And I was like,
they're white guys from California. What are they going to write about?
I was like, go kill yourself. So, like,
yeah, just stop with that crap. I'm not, sensitive people. If you're an intelligent human being, you don't need to sidestep that stuff. Some stuff goes without saying. You don't have to state every thought you have. And I think that's one of the problems, not to get all preachy, but I think that's one of the problems with such an open forum with not just social media, but just the times we live in, because it goes both ways for both right wing and left wing and politics and all that. It's like, if you're an intelligent person, I don't need to clarify to you what I think about something like that. Especially if you've been listening to our podcast for all this time, Dan and me don't need to tell you about a scene where a guy's whacking a woman around and think that it's a terrible thing.
No, and I think the movie sort of...
Do you think I said that succinctly? I mean, I tried
succinctly enough.
Yeah.
I think the movie's, like, even if you have a problem with that, it sort of saves itself in an interesting way only a scene later, where he goes to see Curly, who's the guy who, in the first scene of the movie, finds out his wife has been cheating on him.
Yeah, I love that scene.
It's a great scene. Yeah.
Paulie from Rocky.
I just had the Venetian blinds put in.
I just love Burt Young's responses when he's looking at the pictures. He's just like, "Ooh,
yeah,
ooh."
So
yeah, it's great.
Gittes goes up to Curly's house to get a ride from him, like, to repay it.
Favor.
And his wife answers.
And she's got the black eye.
And she has a black eye. So it's like, we're casually smacking around Faye Dunaway, but then, like, that sort of puts a little bit of focus on the consequences of smacking women around, because like it's like Curly found out his wife is cheating on him, and then his response is to, like, and this guy is a cartoon character, but like that tells us his response was to go home and beat his wife.
Yeah,
that's fucked up.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But it's also in a darkly comic way. It's very funny when he opens the door, because you haven't seen Curly for like 2 hours.
Yeah.
And then she opens the door and she's got a black eye, and you're like, oh shit. And then, like, she goes, doesn't she say to Nicholson, like, I know who you are?
Yeah. and it's brilliant, because that scene with Curly at the very beginning could have just been so expository, just letting you know this is what Gittes does.
Right.
But to bring that character back later in the movie is a masterstroke, I think.
I agree.
And so it ends up, Dunaway, she's been raped by her father, who, like, basically runs L.A. He's so rich.
Yeah.
and her sister is her daughter.
It's her daughter.
And-
I mean, yeah.
And
She
then
gave birth to her.
yeah, I know, but it's her
Right.
dad's baby.
I know.
And she tries to get away, and she shoots her father, but he survives, and she tries to drive the car away, and the cops shoot her, and she dies.
In a gruesome scene.
Yeah, she falls out of the car with like her fucking head, like
Right.
it's a headshot. Yeah,
It's like through her eyeball.
I know.
Yeah. I remember when I very first saw the movie for the very first time, I found that genuinely horrifying. I mean, it still is, but like, I guess I wasn't expecting that in a 1974 movie.
I agree.
Yeah,
I think
and
I had
was
the
like,
same reaction.
I was like, whoa. Yeah.
Um,
And so it ends. The
With the
bad guys
famous
win.
line.
The bad guys win. They get away with it. And
forget it, Jake. It's Chinatown. Which, by the way, I remembered as a Lou line. Like who? But it's
Oh,
Crystal
yeah, I couldn't-
Rando. It's just some cop.
well, no. It's his assistant.
Oh, it is? Okay.
Yeah, because he's the guy who comes back in the two Jakes.
Okay, but still, man, like that wasn't a big enough. I really thought, because Lou is probably like the third or fourth lead of this movie,
Yeah.
and
Right.
yeah, I kind of remembered it being his line, but it's not.
No.
Yeah, it's almost like was Beauty killed the Beast? Like,
What?
that line from King Kong?
No.
Yeah, that's like not that important a character either. Like every time I see King Kong, well, now I know, but I used to think it was
Which
gonna
King
be
Kong? The original or original?
That line is in both the original and the Peter Jackson one.
Oh, well, okay.
Jack Black says it in the Peter Jackson one.
I was getting real old school. I was thinking, I wasn't even thinking of Peter Jackson. I was thinking if you meant like the silent movie and or the Jessica Lange.
No, I mean the original, like the Fay Wray movie.
Okay.
And then they reused it for Peter Jackson.
Oh, you're not even referencing the Jeff Bridges Jessica Lange one.
No. That one I think skips it, maybe. I don't remember.
Okay. All right.
The movie's terrible.
Yeah. I don't even remember it at all.
Yeah. All right. Chinatown.
5 stars.
Yeah, of course.
All right. Well, we did MVP, LVP.
Yeah, Nicholson MVP.
Yeah, he's my Nicholson. He's my Nicholson.
He's my Nicholson.
He's my MVP too, because it could really go to a bunch of people here, but it's Jack's movie, and anyone else in that role, unthinkable.
Yeah.
So
who's your LVP?
Don't have one, man.
You gotta think of something.
No, I couldn't. I can't. Who would it be? I mean, every supporting actor is fantastic. The music's great. The production design's great. The cinematography's great. I mean, what are you going to do?
I know.
Doesn't have one. Some movies are perfect. This is one of them.
I agree. I'm just going to go with that.
All right.
Let's talk about a movie that's not perfect.
Okay.
The Two Jakes. Directed by Jack Nicholson.
His third movie and last movie he directed.
Going South is one I know. What's the other one?
Drive, he said.
Oh, I've never seen that.
I've never seen either of those.
Another movie, by the way, uncredited by Robert Town on IMDb,
Yeah, I know.
for fuck's sake.
I know.
Robert Town did write The Two Jakes, though.
Yeah.
It was released August 10th, 1990.
Yeah.
A budget of $19 million.
Uh-oh, here it comes.
Box office 10.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
It's a movie that had been in development for a while. It was supposed to be made in 1985. And Robert Town was going to direct it.
Right.
And Robert Evans was going to play the Harvey Keitel character, who's the second Jake.
Mm-hmm. Robert Evans. Jesus
Evans.
Christ. Just stay on the sidelines.
Box office, it's number 100 for the year.
Oh, boy. Yeah, well, that makes sense.
I wrote, managed to not make as much money as Nuns on the Run. One of my favorite bad movies of all time.
Oh,
you know Nuns on the Run?
That's the one with that fat British guy, right?
Fat British guy.
Yeah, isn't that the one with Robbie Coltrane?
Oh yeah, Robbie Coltrane is in that. Yeah,
That's all I know about
you
it.
got it. Nuns on the Run, directed by Jonathan Lynn, one of my favorite underrated filmmakers.
Really?
Yeah.
I had no idea that's where we were going with this part of the episode. Okay.
Sorry. Best known.
No, don't be sorry.
Best known
I got
for one of my favorite movies of all time, Clue the movie.
Yes, that is one of your favorite movies of all time. I can't speak about Clue because I really need a rewatch. I think it's literally been 25 years since I've even seen it.
Gotta rewatch it.
Yeah, everybody I know loves that
Brilliant.
movie. So,
Talk about a perfect movie.
Yeah. I got to see it again.
He also directed My Cousin Vinny.
I like that movie.
For all you Jonathan Lynn heads out there.
Well, I like My Cousin Vinny.
Yeah, me too.
I saw it about 8 years ago I hadn't seen it since I was a kid, and I thought it was very funny. Yeah.
He's made some good movies, that guy.
All right.
And Nuns on the Run.
Okay.
Okay. The Two Jakes. The plot of this movie, it's like 10 years later, right?
It's 12 years later.
12 years later.
The first one took place in 36. This is in 48.
J.J. Gittes is now older and out of shape.
And a war veteran.
Yeah, that's true. He's been to World War II since the last movie.
Unscathed, unlike Lou, who lost a leg.
Unscathed physically.
Physically.
Yeah.
Right.
And somehow the Mulrays, the Faye Dunaway family from the previous movie, come back into his life via her sister/daughter, Catherine, who is recast in this movie, which annoys me because I've always liked the actress who plays her in Chinatown.
Yeah, Diane Ladd. I wondered why they didn't try to get her.
She never really had a career after that.
Is that right?
Yeah.
That's too bad.
Yeah, like her last movie's like 1979 or something.
Is it really?
Yeah.
I didn't look her up, and I thought, wow, okay.
No, now
got a hell of a cast, though.
Now it's Meg Tilly, for when you want Jennifer Tilly, but you can't get her.
I actually had the thought during the movie, I kind of wish it would have been Jennifer Tilly in this role.
It's like, hey, do you want Jennifer Tilly, but you wish she was a worse actor and not as sexy? Meg Tilly.
It's your go-to.
Yeah.
Yeah. But we got a hell of a cast here. Can I just run through the cast real quick?
Keitel,
Madeline Stowe, Reuben Blades, Eli Wallach, Frederick Forrest, Richard Farnsworth, Tom Waits.
Yeah, I know. I wrote that down. Tom Waits shows up for like 2 seconds. Has like no dialogue.
And a couple of character actors that appear throughout the years.
Well, I'm a big fan of David Keith.
Yep.
Alternate universe Keith David.
The white.
Short and white. Rather.
He's the Nick Fury, like the Nick Fury, right? He's like the white one and a black one.
He's ultimate Keith David.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's only touching on the names in the cast. There's other just great, the reprisal of Lou and
I was very excited to see James Hong back.
Yes,
James Hong,
Blade Runner's James and Big Trouble in Little China. And
sure, everything's James Hong. If you've seen a movie with an Asian character in it, it's probably James Hong.
He's in it.
Yeah, he's in that first movie. He has a pretty small part, sort of as like Faye Dunaway's valet, I guess.
Well, small part, but a very large part in the
He's
story.
in a lot of scenes, but he has like 2 lines.
No, but I mean in his importance in the movie. Yeah, he's like her confidant and just her trustworthy guy, the only guy she like actually could trust with anything.
And plot-wise, he has no business being in the Two Jakes. Like, that scene is useless, but it was still nice to see him.
It was a nice touch.
He's also, by the way, the host in the Chinese restaurant episode of Seinfeld. Yeah.
We got a very reputable cinematographer for this movie.
The great Vilmos Zsigmond.
Yeah.
R.I.P. to him, too.
Yeah, he shot The Deer Hunter, Deliverance, Close Encounters of the Third Kind, and the last few horrible Woody Allen movies.
And Kevin Smith's Jersey Girl.
Really?
Yes.
He also shot The Witches of Eastwick, so I think there's the
He's
Nicholson.
shot a lot of great movies.
Yeah.
He's brilliant. Deer Hunter, I mean, stands alone.
I agree.
All right, so the two Jakes, you got Keitel. He's playing another fella named Jake.
Yep.
And, you know, I guess we're supposed to compare the characters, but it never really comes up. And, like, it's a tedious plot about a land grab in California.
Oil this time.
Yeah, there's oil seepage underneath the land.
Instead of water.
And that's what we're dealing with. Apparently there was going to be a third Chinatown or Gittes movie called Gittes versus Gittes.
Yeah, well, it was always It was always going to be a trilogy. Apparently.
Right.
Nicholson wanted to do it. He wanted the trilogy. I watched the. There was one special feature on my DVD of this, and it was actually really good. It was like a 20-minute interview with Jack Nicholson, just him.
Yeah.
And he just talked about. Did you watch it?
No.
Oh. And he just talked about how it was made and how he was disappointed. He said, like, he's proud of the movie, but he knows that, you know, he was disappointed it didn't do well. And,
He's proud of this movie?
yeah.
Okay.
I'm proud of this movie.
Do you like this movie?
I do.
All right.
I liked it when I saw it many, many years ago, and I liked it now. Yeah.
This is not a good movie.
Okay.
It's not terrible. It's not terrible. It has really good moments. It's interestingly bad.
Yeah.
But Nicholson's an amateur filmmaker, and
Ooh.
and
I don't agree with that.
it is a tedious and often boring 2 hours and 17 minutes of plot.
It's too long. It's too convoluted. It is a little tedious, but I still think it held my interest.
It doesn't flow. It's choppy.
Yeah.
By the end of this, by the last maybe half hour, I just wanted to be done with it.
Really?
Yeah.
See, I didn't feel that way. I really just loved the atmosphere, and I loved the cinematography. The music was by some no-name. Well, not a no-name. Did you read about this guy? His name's
No, but the music is terrible.
No, it's not. It's not terrible.
Yes, it is.
I don't think that's
Here's
true.
the difference.
Okay.
Between, and this includes the music, between Chinatown and the two Jakes.
Mm-hmm.
Chinatown is an authentic noir film that is trying to fit in with the genre and be a great example of the genre.
Mm-hmm.
What Nicholson did here is make a pastiche of the noir genre. It doesn't feel like a film noir. It feels like a parody of a film noir, a 1990s film noir. This is not your grandmother's film noir.
Really?
Yeah. And
I didn't feel that way.
and I don't have time for it.
Yeah.
And the music, because we already brought it up, it's just, you know what's the cliche of film noir scores? Like if you were gonna watch like some college student's short film and it was a film noir, what would the score sound like?
Jeez. I don't know. I guess some
Probably a
low
lone
horns.
probably a lone saxophone. Would you say?
touche.
Yeah,
all right.
That's what the score of this movie is.
I didn't mind. It didn't stand out to me, but I didn't think at all that it was a bad score. I thought it was fine. You actively noticed it.
Oh, yeah. Saxophone, I always notice because it's one of my least favorite instruments.
Wow. Whoa.
Hey, listen, if it's not in jazz or Bruce Springsteen, I don't want to hear it.
Springsteen.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, my God. All right. Yeah. Okay. Well, I thought that for the reasons I've already stated, and then the performances. I just thought I thought it had actually like a lot of character to it. I was into it, man. I thought it was an engaging, and I didn't think it was a parody of a film noir. I think he got it. I think he got it down. And as a director, I liked some of his shots. I liked some of his overhead crane shots, and I just liked a lot of his patient.
It's too much.
A lot of his I thought he was very patient. I thought like shooting
too patient. Cut 20 minutes out of this thing.
I'm talking about like individual shots being patient. I liked. I thought it was very. I thought it was very meditative, and I liked it. And you thought it was meditative to the point of somnambulistic.
There's one shot where he's just lighting a cigarette for like 45 seconds. Cut it out of the movie. Don't need it. It opens on two interesting experimental shots that I liked. That obscure their subjects. Where first, like, we're seeing Nicholson shooting a couple having sex, but we don't see Nicholson, and we see the couple having sex very oddly through a camera lens.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a great shot. And then it's Nicholson in his office, and it's like a POV shot. So, like, his feet are up on his desk, and the guy he's talking to, who's Keitel, I think.
Yeah, it is.
We don't see right away because his shoes are blocking him. I did like those shots. But then there are shots like the one with Lou where they're in the police center.
I loved it.
And
I know the shot you're talking about.
They have to walk to the center of the floor, stand in the middle of a logo, and then it's just from under them, shooting up at the ceiling. And that's amateur filmmaking, because all that is he thinks it looks cool.
I know.
It adds nothing.
I know.
Roman Polanski doesn't do that shit.
Right. I know what you mean by that, but I have two questions to ask you, which I think should spark an interesting little combo.
I just think, I'm sorry, you get that with actors turned directors way too often, and some people are able to do it. Danny DeVito, I think, really gets away with that.
That's who I was going to mention.
But it happens on TV all the time with like long-running TV shows where like the actors are bored, so like the producers have to start letting them direct episodes.
That always happens. You're right.
You always notice that shit. It's like, oh, there's a lot of flashy shots in this episode of Bones. Oh, it's because David Boreanaz is directing it and he wants to show off.
Dominic West did an episode of The Wire, but I thought that was a good episode. But
The Wire, you have to be restrained. But like it happens all the time. Kevin McKidd will direct an episode of Grey's Anatomy or something, and then all of a sudden we're getting crane shots and tracking shots. Yeah. It's ridiculous.
Well, I was going to ask you about two things. One was a long, long time ago. You and me had a conversation about how you really liked Danny DeVito's directing, and I thought
particularly The War of the Roses.
Right, and which actually was. No, not the same year as this. It was like a year before. But I was thinking about him during this because I thought about Hoffa and how they're in it together, and DeVito directed that.
Yeah.
But I always thought I like DeVito's direction but there are and I love that movie like much more than I like The Two Jakes. But there are shots in that, ironically, that I find to be like that. Like showy for the sake of showiness, like through the limo roof and, stuff like that. I
just think this is a genre picture. You're making a film noir. Film noir has rules. And Jack Nicholson, who's an amateur, fucking amateur hour, does not get to break those rules. It's like what they tell you when you're learning how to paint or draw. You have to learn the rules before you can break them.
Interesting. And my other thing was with that particular shot you're talking about in the police headquarters, it kind of reminded me, even though I don't think Nicholson's ever worked with him, that shot reminded me a lot of Brian De Palma's Untouchables camera work.
Oh.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, kind of.
You know what I'm saying? Like with the train station and a lot of those crane shots, like I was wondering if Nicholson had seen the Untouchables and kind of been a little bit influenced by that noirish film. Similar period. And
it's possible.
I don't know. Well, you're not going to like my MVP then. Whoa, Nelly.
Is it Nicholson?
Yeah.
Because I'll tell you, the only thing worse than Nicholson's direction in this movie is Nicholson's performance in this movie.
Oh, you're crazy. You're crazy. What? Okay, I want to hear this.
The second his voice comes in voiceover, I'm like, nope, sorry, that's not J.J. Gittes.
Oh, I disagree with that.
Nope, sorry. Because in the first movie, we talked about how restrained he is. He really creates a character. You lose sight of the fact that he's Jack Nicholson. In this movie, it's like, your wife's cheating on you.
Oh, I don't think so.
Jack.
I don't think that's true at all.
Oh, my God. It's like he's in Wolf in this fucking movie.
Oh, that is not fair. I don't think that's true at all. I will be the first to call out Nicholson when he's jumping all over the screen, but I did not think that in this movie.
I never lose sight of Jack Nicholson in this movie, even when he's silent. There are scenes where other characters are talking, and like he's in the background, and you could see him like, oh, look, he's doing something with his eyebrows. Oh. Like in this movie, he's like. It's like a Christian Slater performance.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I disagree, man. This is one of the few times we staunchly disagree. Yeah, I really do. I disagree. I don't agree with anything you're saying with the direction or the. I feel like a Fletch line coming up. So what you're saying is you don't agree, but.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. All right. I wasn't sure how you'd feel about this. I didn't think that I absolutely knew you wouldn't be nuts for it, but I thought you would think it was like a competent, entertaining movie. I didn't think you would be.
I don't think it's horrible. I'll say I'll give it a 2. There were things I liked in it.
Yeah. What did you like?
I liked...
Because you haven't really said any of that.
Well, I said those 2 shots at the beginning that I enjoyed.
2 shots. What about Keitel's performance?
Those were 2 very extended shots.
Yeah,
Keitel's doing Keitel, but I fucking love Keitel, so that's fine. I loved Madeline Stowe.
Yeah, man.
I think she's fucking fantastic in this movie.
Yeah, she is unbelievable.
There's the shot where he's at the land with the oil underneath it, and he lights a cigarette, and there's an explosion.
That's great.
And then there's this like spinny kaleidoscope effect as it cuts to Meg Tilly standing above him.
Yeah.
I thought that was a cool shot.
Well, that was a tricky shot. So you've named 3 shots in the movie you like.
Yeah, but to me, like,
that's more than some movies don't have any shots that.
No, I agree. It's because every shot in this movie, he's trying so hard to impress me that occasionally he did.
Yeah, yeah.
There's other terrible things about the direction. The backdrop in his office is horrible. It looks like the Wizard of Oz. I mean, it's just what is it? Just a perpetual sunset.
I didn't even notice. I don't know.
How about attention to detail? There's a scene where he's looking through old newspaper clippings from like the original Chinatown story. Yeah. And the word grizzly, Grisly, is spelled grizzly, like grizzly bear.
Oh. Wow. And they're not referencing a grizzly bear.
No, it's like the Grisly Murders.
Oh.
How about it gets a little racist when James Hong shows up and all of a sudden the score, which has been a saxophone the entire movie, all of a sudden turns into an Asian pan flute.
Well, it is 1948.
No, it's not. It's 1990. This is the score.
Isn't that the music that he has on, like that he's listening to? On
No. Get out of here.
All right, I'd like to.
Listen. I do feel like I have a better sense of what gives Jack Nicholson a boner after watching this movie.
Madeline Stowe.
There's one scene where he just pops his hands in Madeline Stowe's underwear grabs her ass. So we get an answer to the question: is Jack Nicholson an ass man or a boob man? And then tells her, get on your knees, stick your ass in the air, and don't move till I tell you.
Yep.
Classy.
Yep.
That's a line that belongs in the sequel to Chinatown.
I don't know what kind of dialogue you expect from a private eye in the 40s, man. What do you want him to say?
Because it's this woman who's just
he's the
found
same
out
guy.
Her father, her husband's been murdered. Yeah,
he's the same guy who in Chinatown slaps around Faye Dunaway. I mean, what do you think?
He's
like
noble.
Is he a feminist?
No, but he's a character I understand in that movie. He has restrained, lovely sex with Faye Dunaway, who's a character he cares about.
Oh,
the counterpoint scene in this movie is stick your ass in the air and let me fuck you and don't say a fucking word, you dumb bitch.
Daniel, you're so sensitive.
I'm not sensitive. It's disgusting.
Okay.
It's a gross scene.
All right.
And Madeline Stowe just about classes that scene up.
You know what I like about her performance in this is that in the roles throughout the years she's had, which have been very varied, she's never really allowed to be like kind of histrionic. She's always like very classy and restrained, and in this she's allowed to kind of go nuts, and that was
she's
fun.
Crazy in this movie.
And that was fun.
Yeah,
like,
I agree. That was fun for me too.
See her do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
She's a lunatic. Yeah.
I mean, it's just so weirdly over the top. How about the part where David Keith, as the police chief, gets in like a wrestling match with Jack Nicholson. Jack Nicholson jumps, and I say Jack Nicholson because it's not Jake Gittes. Yeah. He jumps on top of David Keith, puts the barrel of his gun in David Keith's mouth, says, "Suck it!"
Because he hates that guy because of his father killed the love of his life.
And then David Keith pisses his pants.
Yeah, it's funny.
It's not funny.
And when Tom Waits says you were accused of allegedly fondling a man in the bathroom, and Nicholson goes, "Yeah, how was it?" It's fucking funny. That whole scene.
Tom Waits, go back to Jim Jarmusch land and stay there.
You know what? He knows Nicholson because they were in a great movie a couple years before this called Ironweed with Meryl Streep. Did you ever see that?
No, I never have, but it's so unsurprising that Jack Nicholson and Tom Waits would be friends.
Of course it is. It's awesome.
Yeah. All right. And then, like, I sort of like the end of the movie. Like,
I thought it was wonderful.
The suicidal explosion thing.
Yeah,
where like
man.
Keitel stays in the house, and I maybe don't need this many explosions in a Chinatown movie, but it's an effective scene, and Keitel's really good. And the direction of like the oil coming up through like the faucet and stuff is well done.
Yeah, man.
So I'll give that its proper due.
I thought it was powerful.
And I thought the scene at the end with Catherine was good.
So did I.
I maybe don't need her trying to make out with him.
Yeah, I know. I don't know what I didn't remember that, and then I could kind of feel that it was coming.
Yeah.
And then like but I knew he would reject that advance. So
I didn't. And that's
you thought he might.
And that's a testament to the different tonalities of the two Jakes in Chinatown.
Well, that could be
the
correct.
Jake Gittes in Chinatown, I would never even have that thought. And in the two Jakes, I was like, oh my God, they're going to fuck.
But I knew he wasn't going to do that, and that is a testament that I still thought it was J.J. Gittes. So, you know, I didn't think he would. I didn't think he would do that. So,
all right.
But I don't know, man. You know, hey. I was just going to say one of my least favorite
You're being
things.
hit by a car again?
Yeah, 2 weeks in a row, man. I'm really, my legs are starting to give out because, you know, one more to the shins and I'm out. I'm down for the count. I'm going to have to do this from a wheelchair.
Yeah.
With wheels.
Wheels, sure. The great Wheels. R.I.P. to him, too.
Wheels McKinnon.
All right, so that's. Do you have anything? Give me more of your notes on the two Jakes. I feel like I've been ranting.
I love the song that closes. Didn't you say that The Way You Look Tonight was one of your favorite songs?
No, but I like the way it's used in Chinatown.
Oh, okay. One of my favorite songs popped up in the end credits, which I'm sure you didn't stick around for. But it was "Haunted Heart" by Joe Stafford. I always loved that song. Did you hear that at the end of the movie?
Yeah, no, I stuck around for like half that song.
Did you see the credit for Faye Dunaway? The special thanks to Faye Dunaway because she lended her voice to the movie.
I noticed that in the movie when because
he gave her credit. Yeah.
Well, he should. There's
sure.
There's that sequence where what is it? It's an old letter that he finds from. Dunaway's character?
Yeah, it's an old letter, and he had her do the voiceover for it, so it was kind of read, which was nice. It was very ghostly.
Yeah, it's like Jamie Kennedy showing up in Scream 3.
Yeah, it was exactly like that.
No, I'm kidding. I actually liked that.
Yeah.
Although there's like a poignant ending to that letter, and then she says P.S. and says a joke. And it's like, just leave that part out.
You want to leave a lot of things out.
I want to leave out all the narration.
Yeah.
He didn't have Robert Towne did not have Polanski this time to tell him, narration. Leave it.
Yeah. I don't have much more, man. I told you I didn't have as many notes on this as I did for Chinatown. I didn't even get to nearly half my notes with that, but that's okay. With this one, I just wanted I was more off the cuff, and I think I said all my notes.
Okay.
I have a superhero count.
Oh yeah, you said you have a few, huh?
I got 4.
4. Hey, one more thing about Madeline Stowe that I discovered when I was IMDbing her.
Sure.
She's in the same year as the two Jakes. She's in one of your favorite movies, Tony Scott's Revenge.
Yep.
And I'd forgotten that. And then she was in that TV show, Revenge.
Yeah, you never thought of that?
Yeah, that never occurred to me. Anytime someone wants to make something called Revenge, like they have to get Madeline Stowe? Is that
I think so. She's in Revenge of the Nerds 4. Because when the show came out and I saw that Madeline Stowe was in it, I was like, oh, that's funny. Because I'm a huge fan of that movie. So I was just like, oh, yeah.
Sure.
So, okay. I have one of my superhero counts. I'm not sure whether to include it. I need your consultation.
Okay.
Because I don't want to get too ridiculous with this. I try to keep it within the zeitgeist of why I started doing this in the first place. But it's technically a count. So, Madeline Stowe was in that short-lived 70s TV series, The Amazing Spider-Man.
I saw that. She's in one episode. That's
fine. Okay.
Hey, you gave me the convenience store guy in the Friday the 13th remake being in 2 episodes of Agent Carter, so I'll let you have this one.
Yeah, but Agent Carter is like part of the whole thing right now, so that's holds a little more water. But yeah, I guess I'll take it. It's a superhero.
Sure.
All right, so then we got Jack again from Batman.
Jack.
And we have another Batman Tim Burton actor. Did you recognize? How well do you know the Tim Burton Batman, the first one?
I know the second one more because I prefer it.
Yeah.
But I know the first one pretty well. Was Prince in this movie?
Yeah, in the when they're trying to irrigate the oil, they find that all that can come out of the faucets is purple rain.
Oh, I like that joke.
Tracy Walter, who plays that guy Tyrone, who's like we're all worried about them drilling under the water because of the gas that's going to explode. He meets Nicholson at that weird bar.
Yeah.
Tracy Walter was in Batman as the Joker's right-hand man. He's the one that the Joker kills just completely out of nowhere at the end of Batman. He's like, Bob, gun, and then kills him. He's his henchman.
Okay.
Yeah, so they must be buds, because that came out the year before.
Yeah.
So Tracy Walter, Batman. And then my last one, I'm a little surprised you didn't get this.
What do you got?
Alternate universe David Keith was Matt Murdock.
Alternate universe Keith David.
Was in Daredevil, Matt Murdock's dad.
Oh, you're right. He's battling Jack Murdock.
It sure is.
Yeah, that guy's been in a ton of stuff, man.
Yeah, I know. So there you go. 4 superheroes in this.
It's funny because like when David Keith was younger, he got a lot of roles like this where he's kind of like like a tough talking wimp.
Yeah,
And
like
then-
an officer and a gentleman and
Right,
stuff like
and then as he got older, he started getting like tough guy roles.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And isn't he in the movie that I don't think is funny, but you like, Major League 2?
I don't remember. But
Yeah,
maybe.
he's in that. He's in that. He plays like one of the dirty New York Yankees or some shit like that. Yeah.
I feel like he plays a lot of like ex-athletes. I remember him being in a sitcom where he's like a retired football player.
Any movie where Kevin Costner is at the end of his career in a sports movie, David Keith walks onto the set.
For love of the game.
That's exactly what I was thinking of. And I have he's not in that, but I have no idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna reminisce about my life as I pitch this perfect game.
Ugh.
Yep, that's a bad Sam Raimi movie.
Oh my God! That's Sam Raimi.
Yeah, one of his worst.
What was he doing?
I don't know.
What a weird pick. All
Odd
right,
choice.
hey, man.
All right, let's wrap up. 2 Jakes, 2 stars, 1 for each Jake.
4 stars for me.
All right. MVP going with Madeline Stowe.
That's a great choice. I could have gone with Keitel, Madeline Stowe, but I'm going with my boy Jack. I want you to direct again. Henry has faith in you. I love you. You can do it again, my friend. LVP was the length.
Oh, that's not an LVP. Give me
Okay,
something real.
The editor. editor.
Fine.
What's wrong with that?
No,
the
that's
editor.
fine.
The editor always can go into Jack and say, "Look, this scene needs to be cut to make
I
this
know,
shorter."
but he's Jack Nicholson. It's one of those things.
Right, it's true.
You can't
What are you
tell
gonna
George
do?
Lucas.
Right.
Um,
So no, it goes to the editor. It's too long.
All right, my
That's-
LVP is Jack Nicholson.
As both director and actor.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
And that wraps it up. That wraps up Chinatown, the J.J. Gittes duo.